now, I'd like to introduce this morning's keynote, Aneesa Muthana. She is the CEO, President, and co-owner at Pioneer Service, Inc., and CEO and partner at M&M Quality Grinding. She will be speaking about empowering others without dividing. Some fun facts about Aneesa. She was a coffee addict for over 3 years until 2020. She learned how to run a machine at the age of 13, but didn't learn how to ride a bike until the age of 46. And she is a Swiftie. Please welcome to the stage our keynote speaker, Aneesa Muthana.
Good morning. It was 30 years that I was addicted to coffee. 30 years. And then I got COVID. And since then, tea is my friend. No more migraines. That was the blessing in disguise. So thank you for having me. My name is Aneesa Muthana. It is my honor and privilege to be your first keynote. John, thank you for warming up the crowd. And be sure to take away phones and laptops as you see them, as we agreed on. Just kidding. Anyway, I wanted to acknowledge Kimberly. Sanice and Desiree have been wonderful to work with, but I didn't think coming here I would find a mentor, and I did in Kimberly. And I am honored to be on this stage and with your guidance. So thank you, Kimberly. I will be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. My focus, empowering without dividing. And yes, that's possible through DEI. Unfortunately, they have become buzzwords. But me speaking about the topic today, presenting this very topic, is a testament to the progress that we've made. But we still have a long way to go. Who here feels like the character on the right? Any engineers that want to dissect this and kind of explain to us what this means? By the way, this is as technical as it's going to get. No more than this. We as manufacturers have so much going on. KPIs, on-time delivery, quality, RMAs, continuous improvement, corrective preventive actions, workforce development, workforce retention, workforce recruitment. The list goes on. DEI should not be embraced as a burden, but should be embraced wholeheartedly as something that will help you and bring value to your company and to your life. And I hope today you grab some lessons and takeaways from my personal experiences. So who is Aneesa Muthana? She's the product of Suad and Mohammed Muthana, who came from Yemen in the 60s. Before I can tell you my story as a manufacturer, I have to acknowledge the story of my parents. My father came here in the 60s, worked as a busboy and a machinist. My mother, who paved the way for me and many other women, worked in a dark, dirty, grimy factory before sexual harassment or racism were anything anyone was talking about. They worked hard. They started up a shop. At the prime age of 11, I was on their shop floor. At 11 years old, I knew what I wanted to be, a maker. That's what my parents were. And I am proud to be 54 years old and still as proud as I was when I was 11 years old to be a maker. And every single person here should feel the same. We touch lives. I left the family business almost 31 years ago, back in 1993. I left it because I was the only girl, and although my family let me run machines, do sales calls, pretty much run the business along with my brothers. The outside world never took me serious, and I knew I need to find my own niche, my own path in the same industry. So I partnered up with my uncle. My one condition was that he was my silent partner. I didn't want the same dynamics because I knew that people would come and ask him the questions, and I would be ignored all over again. I was willing to do all the work, and I did for 30 years, and we're in a very good place. Ironically, I had a full circle moment a couple years back when my father was ready to retire. My brothers couldn't afford to buy him out, so guess who they called? So I am the CEO of that company as well, and it is my honor to continue the legacy. And I have both companies under one roof and run them with an amazing team. I'm also the mother of 2 grown sons who have blessed me with 4 amazing grandchildren, the 5th on the way. Anyone here parents of toddlers? Raise your hand. God help you. How about teenagers? Let's all pray. Let's all pray for them. There's hope. It is true when they say grandchildren are God's reward for not killing your kids. Hang in there. I'm proof of that. It would be foolish of me to be in a room full of manufacturers without representing my company. Pioneer Service is an AS 9100 contract manufacturer of precision machine parts. We make parts for Tesla, aerospace, and all different types of industries. This is a sample of what we do. If anything interests you, please come and see me. I would be honored to partner up and earn someone's business from this conference. As you can see, my teams are very diversified. That is our strength. Respecting it and each other align with our values. Now, you'll see different age groups, everybody from Generation Z all the way to baby boomers, different backgrounds. We respect each other and we work well together, but it didn't just happen. I used to have an iron fist when I was in my 20s and 30s. That's how we got things done. I've learned that that's not the way to do things. My mindset when running my companies is compassion and people first. The right people, but nonetheless, people first. It's not a cliche, and I am not naive to the bottom line. I am unapologetically love money. I'm a CEO. It's my job to, right? But not at the expense of my team. That's what I've learned in my 3 decades of running my company. And when you do that, and you do that right, stewardship is one of our core values. I have their backs. I look out for them. I make sure they're okay, whether it's physical or their mental health or their families. I check in with my team. And in doing that, they look at the bottom line. They have my backs. That, my friends, is an engaged team. And that's what I call sustainable success. In our mission, it always has been and always will be delivering excellence, quality, service at a fair price. That's what we strive on a strong foundation of values and a vision to give back and be part of positive change, which includes DEI. I hope one day we won't need to talk about DEI. I think we're getting there with 19 countries in the room. But nonetheless, There's still a lot of work to be done. These are not just pretty words on a wall. We have them on our conference room. We have them on our website. They mean something. We talk about them in huddles. We talk about them in meetings. And whenever we're confused to make a decision, this is our compass. It's important to do that. And it's important that it starts with me. I have 2 managers that have my permission to tap me on my shoulder should I steer away from these values. If they're able to do that for me, there is no reason why anyone at the company shouldn't follow those same values. Otherwise, it's a waste of time, and people inside and outside of my company will see right through it. It's hard work to build a profitable company, let alone one that's diversified. It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort. But with an open heart and an open mind and a whole lot of empathy, and I think that that's going to be the key word, empathy, it is possible, and I am proof of it. So I encourage everyone to open their hearts and open their minds and hopefully learn a few things from what I'll share today. As a CEO, there always has to be a return on investment. By the way, I came up with that, the ROI of DEI. Poetry, my next calling. So what is the ROI of DEI? Innovation is championed through diversity. If everyone on your team looks like you and comes from the same background as you, you haven't even scratched the surface of innovation. Diversity brings different perspectives, brings different ideas, and drives creativity. That is a huge ROI in itself. As manufacturers, as leaders in this industry, it is our responsibility to promote the industry to those that may not be inclined to join. In the process of doing the right thing, you also widen the pool of candidates, while your competitors may have not gotten the memo. That's a huge step in the right direction. DEI provides substance that resonates with others. And it makes your workplace so much healthier. Mindset, feeling the sense of belonging. When someone walks in your company, your department, how do they feel? Do they have that sense of belonging? Or do they force themselves to fit in? That fitting in isn't necessarily a good thing. Understanding and appreciating who you are and knowing that people know your value, that's a workplace. That's a healthy workplace. And nowadays, with Generation Z and millennials, social issues are very important to them. I'll give you an example. When my team is looking to hire someone, the first step in the process is they introduce the core values. The last step in the process is I get to sit with them. There was a recent graduate of Northwestern University. We really wanted to hire him. And through the recruiter, I knew he had a job offer from a competitor. He told me he would be willing to take a 10% pay cut to work for my company. When I asked him why, I was happy, but I didn't understand why. He said, interviewing with my team, he felt better than everywhere else he interviewed. He felt like this could be my home. That in itself was a huge win. By the way, he was a 23-year-old white male. And yes, DEI applies to him too. Just like the appeal of a candidate, many big-name suppliers tend to reach out to us. And when I ask them why, they want to be part of our story. They feature us in publications. They have us in their podcasts. That in itself, not only do we get amazing service and special treatment, which I don't mind, but we also build our brand, and they do so much marketing for us. That is a huge win. Sometimes doing the right thing, you reap the benefits in ways you can't even imagine. These are only 4. There's so much more. Don't just check off a box. Just as important of me explaining what DEI is, I'm here to tell you what DEI is not. DEI is not playing the victim. DEI is not a charity case. DEI shouldn't be, unfortunately it is many times, a political agenda. And it certainly is not a token employee or us versus them. That is not DEI. Diversity means different things to different people. Backgrounds, lifestyles, age, education levels. Diversity is so broad. It's accepting and making everyone feel. Qualified employees feel. Can I say that again? Qualified employees. You want to hire qualified people. You do not want to check off a box, even with the best of intentions. I just recently hired a woman sales engineer. My account manager, who is here with me today, and I were talking about that yesterday. And she said to me, "I'm so excited we have a woman engineer." I was like, "Yeah, we don't have one of those." She was qualified. She came, she interviewed, she did a fantastic job, and we hired her. It didn't dawn on my mind that I just checked off a box. And even, let's just say that I was hoping to. I need to take a step back and make sure that she actually is qualified, because it's an injustice to my company, to the people in my company, and to her, if that's the case. Without empathy, any DEI efforts are blown in the water. Everyone, not just the leaders, everyone has to buy into the initiative. But how do we get everyone to buy into the initiative? We can't shame them to empathize when we don't provide it. If you want your team to embrace diversity, if you want your team to understand the meaning of DEI, you need to lead by example. I've been talking about DEI since the hashtag has been around, but prior to the hashtag, it was just merely doing the right thing. And I've been in this industry for so long and hear people say they value DEI. They're actually sometimes consultants and get paid a lot of money to talk about it. And in the same breath, they bash the old white guy. I've been in this industry for 30 years. The old white guy and I have been rubbing shoulders for just as long as I've been in the industry. They are my mentors, my mentees. We sit on boards together. We go shopping together because we have an appreciation for big machines. Joking aside, villainizing the white male and expecting him to embrace change is a recipe for failure. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Villainizing the white male, yet expecting him to embrace change, is a recipe for failure. It doesn't work that way. And I realize there are villains that exist. Of course, you deal with so many challenges and toxic people, but not all of them are white males. I've seen my share of women. I've seen my share of minorities. Bad leadership is not designated to a gender, a race, or a color. That's not advocacy. That's hypocrisy. Women groups, don't we just love women groups? I get a lot of pushback on women groups, unfortunately. I still do. I went into a boardroom encouraging that we start a group for women. Why are you dividing? And many times it's the women that gave me a hard time. It's not dividing. If you had a daughter and you had to send her across the country to a conference, knowing she will be the only woman in the room, would you want that for her? How do you think she would feel? Women groups provides inspiration, mentors. The joke is, and I hate to feed this stereotype, but the joke is that I feel more comfortable on the shop floor than the mall. My mother says this to me all the time. You don't go to the mall with me. Well, you raised me on the shop floor. Can't expect both. And so, not everyone feels as comfortable on the shop floor at conferences as I do. I had a trailblazer, my mom, that taught me about my value. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has family in the industry. Back in 2016, I joined a board. There were 3 of us at the conference, hundreds of men. There was actually women in leadership positions prior, but they were not gathering the women. They didn't feel it was necessary. When I joined the board, I had a condition. I need to develop a women's group. I got pushback. At the time, there was 3. 2 years later, the women in the right corner, bottom right corner, that's 2 years later. And those are some powerful women. 2 years, some phone calls and emails and hugs, embracing them, making them feel welcomed. I didn't do it alone. I actually had a very small role. My mentor, Miles Free, who's here today. Miles, could you stand up? He's going to hate me. No, it wasn't. Miles Free not only helped develop these ladies and help make them feel comfortable. He attended the lunches. He attended the dinners. He is the ally of all allies, and not just for women, but we're talking about women on this slide. Today, that same association has just as many women on the board as men. And that's a credit to him. Thank you, Miles. Thank you for what you do for the industry and what you've done for me personally. Equity. What can equity be, right? They are the policies and procedures you have in place. Ask yourself, are they fair and impartial? Does everyone on your team make a fair wage? That's something you should check into, because this one can be a little sticky, especially if they've been there for so long, and especially when you hire them and you ask them, how much are you looking for? And their number is $20,000, $30,000 less than you were willing to pay. And you agree to that. That's not doing the right thing. Just because they don't know doesn't make it right. And making sure that everyone on your team has an opportunity to develop and extend their training. And if it's in a policy somewhere, but they don't know about it, it doesn't count. Everyone should be encouraged to develop their skills and to move up the ladder. And I'm ecstatic that Emmanuel feels grateful to work for my company. Guadalupe feels valued, and why wouldn't she? Our motto, everyone has a place in manufacturing. Work hard, you, the company, and the industry will prosper together. Right? That's how it is. Inclusion isn't about walking on eggshells. It's about having a sincere desire to learn about your team. You don't have to know everything. You have to respect the differences and accommodate when necessary. But it's not walking on eggshells. And I truly believe that many people are afraid of DEI and afraid of talking to their employees because it's becoming so political. And that's when your policies in place, your one-on-ones, your huddles, baby steps, showing an authentic desire to do well by your team. You will be better for it. Your company will be better for it. And your team will love you for it. I am obviously of Muslim descent. My faith is very important to me and keeps me extremely grounded. My team, however, are mostly Christians. So when it was time to get a chaplain, I chose a Christian-based chaplain. I remember the interview I had with them. They were giving me a list of names of Muslim chaplains. And I said that wasn't necessary. They thought I was just looking for a chaplain of my faith. I know enough that there's a lot of alignment, and that was enough for me. And there was also the desire to make sure that my team felt comfortable to use the service. I wasn't looking to convert people. I was looking to support them and their families. And it took about a couple of years for people to actually use the service because it was kind of awkward. Why is this person here? But let me tell you, this has helped the mental health and the well-being of my team and their families. And it is such a small investment to pay. And in the process, I got to meet the chaplain, Tia. And when my son returned from Afghanistan after serving in the military, I went through a very hard time. I still get choked up about it. I know that many here have had family members serve in the military. We expect the highs, but we don't expect so many lows. And then the guilt, my son came back. Not all parents can say that. That was really hard for me to deal with. And Tia helped me through those difficult times because I couldn't talk to my employees about it. I couldn't talk to my family about it. And she would pop in every once in a while and say hello, and all of a sudden, she was my sounding board. Although we have different faiths, our values are aligned. I look at those photos, it's just a fraction of the mentorship that has had happened in my four walls. I am so proud of my team for embracing mentoring. Manufacturing has been my livelihood my entire life. Giving back to it is my responsibility. Having my team embrace that is the icing on the cake. Outreach is part of our values. We all contribute to it somehow. And mentorship is a fantastic way in introducing those that may not be inclined to join manufacturing. But as mentors, when my team and I talk about interns or an experience or a comment someone made, that builds that camaraderie and that love for the industry, which makes everyone feel that they belong. When you're making an effort to make an intern or an apprentice or a visitor feel that this is a great industry, a great company, you develop a pride. And better yet, you're part of their journey to their successful careers. Back in the early 2000s, my first intern was 16 years old. He used to work at Jewel, which is a grocery store. He used to, you know Jewel? Yay, Jewel. And so he wanted an internship, and I'm like, sure, let's try this out. That was about 2000, I would say, 4. Again, my first intern. Today, he's a CPA, my mentor. When you open your heart, you open your mind, and you open your company, you will reap the benefits one way or another. Is everyone awake? So quiet. John, do you want to come back and warm them up again? At our company, we have quarterly events. The management team presents to the employees. We tell them what's happening, any initiatives, training, new machines, new employees. One of my fun slides that I love was when the sales team presents where our part actually goes in an application. That aha and that level of engagement. My part goes into a Tesla. My part goes into oxygen equipment. It's amazing what that connection will do for your team. And it's an opportunity for us to shut down the machines and break bread together. And then we have 2 events every year that we gather with our families. And in these events, it's just the way my parents raised me. I just love to meet all the children, all the family members, take their photos. I'm the photographer, along with my granddaughter. And I make sure that everyone feels welcomed. And it's not even something that I'm thinking about. It's something that's so organic and so just part of our culture. And it doesn't just happen. It's developing those relationships with my team that I sincerely want to see their children. And throughout the years, when I met them this small, and today they're graduates from universities, and when my employees thank me for providing them income that their families have done so well, and being part of that journey, I believe that those events that we have with families really secure my relationship with my employees. I know, especially with my male employees, if the wife likes me, I got him. She ain't letting him leave. I have a huge network inside and outside of my workplace. I like to hang out with like-minded individuals, people that want to do positive change, people that think outside the box. Specifically, back in 2012, I lost 90% of my business. Everyone was expecting me to close my doors. That wasn't an option. I would have said failure wasn't an option, but I'll stay away from that. I love that, by the way. And so, in my journey of reinventing my company, I had to get outside my four walls. And as I went outside my four walls, I would take people with me from inside my team. The conversations we have in the car, at dinner, on our one-on-ones, outside the company, are priceless. Even with former employees, I've learned so much about leadership by listening to them and seeing how they've developed. And it's a great opportunity for them to also learn and find best practices. Because in the end of the day, if we're stuck in our four walls, we're limited in our four walls, even if it's just visiting a customer. We believe that marketing our team and showing them off is the best way to brand our company, and also the best way to get them poached. You know what happens often? We will feature an employee and they'll get a call, literally at the company, by a competitor. I can't believe it. But we still do it. And we tag them in everything. Because it's so rewarding for them and their families to be recognized when they get a certification or hit an anniversary or they make news. How they feel, it's the little things. It's being mindful and really just saying to yourself, what represents my company? There's the equipment, there's the parts, and then there's the people. The people are the backbone of the company. And when they do something right or they have a reason to celebrate, we highlight them. Now, more than ever, there is so much hate and so much violence in the world today. I'm sure many of you have heavy hearts. So what better way to make sure that your team's mental health is intact than to nourish minds, communities, and hearts through volunteering? whether we're playing silly and putting red noses on to bring attention to the hungry, or going to feed my starving children for a few hours to pack some food for kids across the world. The toy drive that we mention here, I had a sister who passed away back in 1998. She left 3 sons. One of them had cerebral palsy. And I dropped out of school to take him to his appointments. He had occupational therapy, physical therapy, among other things. It was impossible to be a single mom, run a company, and fulfill that gap. In doing so, I got to know the people at his hospital, Lyra Beta Hospital. And so although I don't celebrate Christmas, I realized that there were so many children in that hospital that didn't have toys. So every year, I would take toys to that hospital. When my team found out that I was doing that, one year, I walk out of my office and I see a table with toys filled on that table. That's inclusion, ladies and gentlemen. I celebrated a holiday that didn't belong to me to make others feel comfortable. And in return, my team embraced it and contributed towards that to make me feel good. My nephew passed away 10 years ago. The tradition continues. Every year, someone dresses up like Santa and takes it to the hospital. And it will always continue. The picture on the right, you might have heard a few years back, there was a shooting at Henry Pratt. An angry employee came back and killed people. My team and I heard about it, and because outreach is something that we're passionate about, we ordered some pizza and some desserts, and we went to serve them lunch. Checking in on our neighbors, checking in on our manufacturers. That, I can't even tell you how rewarding that was for the entire team. Could happen to any of us. This initiative, outreach and giving back, reinforces the message in my company that it's not just about the bottom line, that not every minute is about how much money we can make, but what impact we have, whether it be local or international. So I hope there were a few takeaways and you leave here a little inspired. If you have core values, let them be more than pretty words on your website. Let them be something that everyone is held accountable to, including yourself. Show off your team. A healthy pride of a diversified team is so beautiful to see online, in front of customers, wherever you can. Take your team with you. When you find someone on your team that doesn't have the confidence, take them with you. Spend some one-on-one with them. Not only will they be better for it, but you will too. Whether it's mentorship, conferences like this, getting to know people, finding people that are like-minded, and making a positive impact in the industry, making a positive impact on the world today is so important. Be selective about the conferences you go to. Be selective with the circle that you have around you, because sometimes it's those that are bringing you down. And when you find the right ones, hold on tight and take leadership roles and bring your team. We are manufacturers. We touch lives at the world at large. We help this world run. We should be very proud to be a maker. Failure is when we are silent. We win with positive change, creating a legacy for future generations, creating a legacy that we are proud of. Thank you.